Level 1. Limbo. The first level of Hell, Limbo, is not traditionally viewed as a place of torment. It closely resembles Earth, where inhabitants experience no physical suffering, but the real punishment lies in the knowledge that their condition will remain unchanged for eternity. Dante described Limbo as a place not of wailing, but of gentle sighs. It is the resting place for unbaptized infants and virtuous individuals born before Christ, such as philosophers like Plato and Socrates. According to Dante's vision, when Christ died on the cross, he descended into Limbo and brought many righteous souls to heaven, primarily Old Testament figures like Adam, Abel, Noah, and Moses. Notably, Julius Caesar also resides here, as Dante admired ancient Rome, though Caesar couldn't be placed in heaven because he lived before Christ. Minos. Minos, a figure from ancient Greek mythology, serves as a judge in the underworld. He determines where souls are sent based on their actions in life. When anyone encounters him, they are compelled to speak only the truth. Level 2. Lust. In the second level of Hell, known as Lust, reside those who have committed sins of sexual desire. This level is one of the most common temptations used by devils to lure souls into hell. Here, powerful winds, as strong as hurricanes, constantly hurl the damned back and forth, never allowing them any rest. In Dante's Divine Comedy, the concept of contrapasso, where punishment reflects or contrasts the sin, applies here. Since these souls were swept away by the passions of love in life, they are now literally swept away by violent winds. Level 3. Gluttony. In the third level of Hell, the damned are subjected to an endless downpour of freezing rain, sleet, snow, and hail. They are constantly battered by ice, enduring relentless torment. This is also where Cerberus, the three-headed dog from Greek mythology, roams, tearing the souls apart. However, since they cannot die, they regenerate and remain trapped in a cycle of eternal suffering or lie still in agony forever. The punishment reflects the concept of contrapasso. Those who overindulged in food and drink are now being devoured. Most of the souls here lie motionless, pretending to be dead, in an attempt to avoid Cerberus's wrath. Level 4. Greed. In the fourth level of Hell, those condemned for greed are greeted by a chaotic scene, a sea of souls endlessly crashing into one another like waves, relentlessly beating each other with heavy money bags. Dante notices that some of them are bald and asks Virgil if they were members of the church. Virgil explains that half of them were indeed church members, while the other half were simply individuals who hoarded wealth during their lives. Now they are doomed to fight endlessly over nothing, just as they once fought for worthless earthly riches. Level 5. Wrath. This level of Hell is reserved for those consumed by anger and hatred during their lives. Here the damned struggle in a vast, filthy sea of mud, constantly pushing each other down, desperate to rise to the surface. Beneath the mud, bubbles rise, created by the screams and cries of those submerged, eternally drowning. The river Styx, filled with suffering souls, runs through this level. Dante and his guide Virgil cross it with the help of Phlegyas, the boatman from Greek mythology who ferries souls between the fifth layer and the deeper circles of Hell. As they near their destination, Dante sees a glowing red light, the city of Dis, which contains the 6th through 9th circles of Hell. The city is marked by its fortified walls and a fiery, desolate landscape. Upon reaching the gates of Dis, they are confronted by fallen angels who refuse Dante entry, insisting that he is still alive and does not belong. Despite Virgil's attempts to explain that they are on a divine mission, the gates are locked. As tensions rise, 3 Furies, covered in blood and serpents, appear on the gate's pillars and call for Medusa, intending to turn Dante and Virgil to stone. Just as things seem awful, a heavenly angel descends from the skies with a thunderous roar. As the angel walks across the river Styx, the tormented souls part to make way. Upon reaching the gates, the angel touches them, and they immediately swing open, revealing the fallen angels cowering behind them. Level 6. Heresy. Level 6 is where the heretics reside, marking the first layer in Hell, where the souls actively sinned against others, resulting in direct torture rather than mere misery. Here, Dante and Virgil see vast tombs carved from rock, each filled with souls lying within. Level 7. Violence. The 7th level of Hell is divided into 3 rings, each punishing a different form of violence against others, against oneself, and against God. In the outer ring, those who committed violence against others are submerged in the river Phlegathon, a boiling river of blood. Centaurs, fierce half-human, half-horse creatures, patrol the river, shooting arrows at any soul that tries to escape. Alexander the Great is among the souls here, condemned for the countless lives he took. The deeper the soul is submerged, the more severe their crimes, with some completely buried in the boiling blood, while others barely keep their heads above it. In the middle ring, those who committed violence against themselves, like suicide, are trapped in a dark forest of twisted dead trees. Harpies, half-bird, half-woman monsters fly through the forest, tearing at the trees. Dante hears screams but sees no one until Virgil instructs him to break a branch. Blood pours out of the broken branch and the tree itself cries out in agony. These souls are condemned to live as trees as they rejected their human bodies in life. The harpies feast on the tree's branches, causing them endless suffering. On Judgment Day, their lifeless bodies will hang from their branches as a permanent reminder of their actions. In the inner ring, the most tortured souls suffer for committing violence against God, nature, or art. Here, naked souls walk endlessly across burning sand as fire rains down from the sky. The scorching heat forces them to constantly move, but if any soul collapses from exhaustion, they are condemned to lie still for 100 years, exposing more of their body to the burns. Among these souls is Caponius, a giant who mocks his suffering, refusing to show any pain, as defiance against Jupiter, the Roman god who killed him. Level 8. Fraud. The 8th level of hell, known as Malebolgia, is divided into 10 trenches called Bolgias, each punishing a different type of fraud. In the first Bolgia, those who betrayed love, such as people who sold family members for lust, are tormented. They are forced to run endlessly from one side of the trench to the other, whipped by devils. The second Bolgia is for deceptive speakers, liars who manipulated others for personal gain. This trench is filled with filth, and the damned fight and push each other down, symbolic of how they were full of BS in life. In the third Bolgia, the simoniacs, those who sold sacred items like church pardons for money, are punished. The ground is on fire, with random flames shooting up. The fourth Bolgia holds sorcerers and seers, punished by having their heads twisted backwards, so they are forced to walk eternally in reverse, symbolizing their distortion of truth and foresight. In the fifth Bolgia, corrupt politicians, or barators, who sold political favors, are boiled in a pit of tar. The sixth Bolgia contains hypocrites draped in beautiful yet unbearably heavy robes. While their outward appearance seems fine, their burden reflects their inner deceit. They are forced to walk endlessly under this weight. The seventh Bolgia is for thieves, where giant snake-like creatures sting the damned, turning them into ash. They are constantly regenerated and then stung again, trapped in a cycle of endless torment. The eighth Bolgia punishes evil counselors, those who use their wisdom and leadership to lead others to death. Their souls burn beneath small flames that appear like fireflies. Ulysses is found here, believed to have led his crew to death in pursuit of the world's end. In the ninth Bolgia, sowers of discord are torn apart in a sea of carnage, reflecting the chaos they caused in life. Demons continuously rip them apart and throw their body parts into the bloodied battlefield. The 10th Bolgia is reserved for liars and falsifiers, shrouded in a pitch-black void filled with constant shrieking. The souls here suffer from extreme diseases, far worse than any on Earth. Level 9. Treason. The ninth and deepest circle of hell is a frozen lake divided into 4 regions based on the type of betrayal the souls committed. These regions are for those who betrayed their kindred and family, their country, their guests and friends, and ultimately God. The damned are trapped in the ice with only their heads protruding from the frozen surface, doomed to remain immobile for eternity. Even their tears freeze on their faces. At the very center of this frozen lake lies the heart of hell itself. Dante meets a soul he knows personally, Fra Alberigo, who despite still being alive on Earth is condemned here. Alberigo explains that when someone commits a sin so grave, their soul is sent directly to hell, while their body on Earth becomes possessed by a demon, which explains demonic possession. As Dante and Virgil journey toward the center, they begin to feel a strong, icy wind. Virgil reveals that the wind comes from Lucifer's wings. Lucifer, massive and terrifying, has 3 faces, one on the right which is dark and blackish, the middle one blood red, and the left a burning yellow. From each face, blood and tears flow, forming a river of suffering. There are only 4 souls in the very bottom pit of hell. Lucifer is the first, but in his jaws he eternally chews on 3 great betrayers. On either side of him hang Brutus and Cassius, the Roman senators, who conspired against Julius Caesar. Their upper bodies protrude from Lucifer's mouths, while they are constantly bitten and scratched by his claws. In the center head, Judas Iscariot, the man who betrayed Jesus, suffers the worst punishment of all. His body is mangled beyond recognition, with his flesh stripped away, exposing his bones. He is gnawed at by Lucifer's middle head, with no hope of relief. Lucifer's presence here at the very center of the earth is a result of his fall from heaven. When he was cast out, the earth recoiled, and he became trapped at the core, creating a void through which Dante must now escape.